here's Brody Brazil.
You know, I never thought I'd be doing so many sports in Utah videos here on the YouTube channel, but things keep happening in the Beehive State. In fact, maybe more than you even realize right now. Obviously, the arrival of the NHL team yet to be named, but is it actually leading to Major League Baseball being that much closer to coming to Utah and Salt Lake City? Normally in these videos, I like to build up to a point and ultimately get to my takeaways at the very end. That's kind of the payoff. But in this case, I'm just going to give you the takeaways right from the start, and then I'll give you all of the background behind it that leads me to these points. There's kind of that NHL to Utah method, right? It was the Arizona Coyotes struggling as a franchise. The Smith Group was out there. Oh yeah, the state of Utah, they passed $1.8 billion of public funding for $900 going to the NBA and NHL team, and another $900 million going to a prospective Major League Baseball team if they could land one in the state of Utah. So the money was there. The group was there. The venue was there. The interest was there. All they needed to do was kind of wait this out with the NHL to figure out, well, will this be expansion or will we move the Coyotes? Turns out that $900 million for Delta Center or the new indoor arena, turns out they're going to be fixing up Delta Center. That was approved in late February 2024. Literally about a week later, the NHL commissioner, Gary Bettman, he flew out to Arizona, talked to the Murillo Group, said, we need you to move this forward. We need you to sell your team to us. We're going to move them to Utah. So literally within weeks of the NHL finding out about their public money, they made Arizona move to Utah. They basically influenced it to happen. My point here is there's a method of how this works for Salt Lake City. Guarantee the money, guarantee ownership, provide proof of where you're going to build the venue, and it's all laid out. And so right now, as it relates to Major League Baseball, think about it. You've got the Tampa Bay Rays in uncertain stadium times. You've got the Chicago White Sox hoping for a new stadium. What happens if that doesn't work out? And you've got the Oakland A's who have established they're leaving Oakland at the end of this year to head to Sacramento. Their ultimate plan is to be in Las Vegas, but that is not yet even finalized. So Salt Lake City, or Utah, if that's what we want to call it, they have options in waiting these situations out to see what happens. If they ultimately don't just get flat out an expansion team, they can already start hunting out existing franchises with existing problems. And so, yeah, there's been $900 million approved that the NHL and NBA team are going to use. That's through the Smith Entertainment Group. But it's also important to point out here, there's a totally separate group, the Larry H. Miller Group. They're the ones that used to own the Utah Jazz. They're now part of this development south of Salt Lake City in Jordan called Daybreak, Utah. That's where they're building a new minor league stadium for the AAA Salt Lake Bees. The Larry H. Miller Group is the one that's attached to an MLB pursuit. So my point here is all of these wheels in motion, they've seen how it was done with the NHL coming to Salt Lake City in Utah. And now why not apply those very same tactics to try and landing a Major League Baseball team? And it's not even the Smith Group that's totally taxed in this situation. They've taken on two teams, the Jazz and the NHL team, which I might as well just start calling them the Yeti already. And now you've got the Larry H. Miller Group, totally separate, totally focused on still landing Major League Baseball and waiting this situation out. But just going back into how this all developed, there was a Senate bill for the arena money. There's a House Bill 562 for the baseball stadium money. The House of Representatives voted easily in favor of it, 51-21 back in February. And then the Senate voted 25-4 in favor of this. It was officially signed into law by Governor Cox March 19, 2024, providing up to $900 million in state funds for a possible MLB stadium by mid-2032. I think it does eventually expire, but they've got plenty of years now to try and secure this so that the money goes along with it. Taxes in this case would be generated from sales within the stadium district. They would also add a 1.5 increase in car rental taxes to non-residents if Utah lands the team. So that's where the money's going to come from, car rental taxes, but not to anybody living in the state of Utah. This is only for visitors. The team would be required, the baseball team would be required to use the Utah name, and the state would own the stadium and land, and they lease it back for $150,000 per month to a Major League Baseball team. They've already got the site, which I will show you. It's right next to the State Fair Park, coming up in this video. The Larry H. Miller Group, they've announced $3.5 billion in investment in this Power District area where they want the stadium to go. They're projecting the cost at $1.8 billion for the stadium, with the Larry H. Miller Group paying the remainder. House Bill 562 sets up a new investment district in 2024 with a board to oversee it. So this isn't just a hypothetical down the road. This is literally action in motion so that they are ready when the opportunity presents itself for Major League Baseball, just like they did with hockey. They're going to jump all over it for Major League Baseball. And again, all of this is separate from Senate Bill 272, which was the arena project for downtown. They didn't know if they were going to build something new or refurbish Delta Center. Turns out, looks like they're going to refurbish Delta Center. Governor Spencer Cox, he signed this into law. He said, quote, "The west side, where this baseball stadium would go, is a gathering place for so many people and an opportunity to be a showcase as people are visiting our state for the first time to see this incredible development, as well as potentially Major League Baseball sitting right there welcoming people into the capital city." Ryan D. Wilcox is a representative and was also the sponsor of House Bill 562. Representative Wilcox said, quote, "If you don't run to your position, someone else will." That's twofold. That's a baseball term, but that's also showing the intensity of how Utah is approaching this, going right after it. They want to seek out a Major League team however they can get it. We have a generational opportunity right now to communicate in the clearest terms possible that Utah is indeed ready for Major League Baseball. We're excited for the opportunities House Bill 562 brings to our capital city, our state, and of course, Utah families for generations to come. End quote. They've got the site. They've got the renderings, and obviously these are initial and these could change, but it's a beautiful spot. It's located, and I'll show you the overall map. It's located between the airport and between downtown, right on the banks here of the Jordan River. I mean, again, this is something that you go to Major League Baseball with and you say, we're ready. We've got the money, we've got the ownership group, we've got the location, we've got the renderings. We just don't have the team yet. So is the team an existing team that you're moving here and selling to us? And again, they've already seen the model of how this works. The league bought the Coyotes, they turned around and sold them to the Smith Group, and now they reside in Salt Lake City. There's the overview of the map. You see where University of Utah is, downtown Salt Lake City, the Power District in between downtown and the airport. It's all connected via major roads and rail transit, so there's a lot of benefits to this location where it's at. How about the timeline? This comes from the Larry H. Miller Group. They say this on their website: because of the private investment and support, planning and construction on the improvements to the west side, including the Power District, State Fair Park, and Jordan River parcels, they can begin right away. Again, this is all part of their plan. They know they can't be half ready for this. They can't be on their heels. They're literally on their toes. From a financing perspective, from the state, and from the developer perspective, it says here so that they can begin right away. MLB has not put a timeline on team expansion, although relocation could happen sooner, but the shovel-ready nature of the site at the Power District will enable ballpark construction to begin immediately as needed. And all of these things, I'm telling you, it just goes to show how Salt Lake City, how Utah can be fast-tracked to getting a Major League Baseball team, and now they've got the blueprint. The NHL to Utah essentially provided the blueprint. There is momentum. I realize this is a lot to take on all at once. Salt Lake City only had the Jazz as their major pro sports team and Real Salt Lake, but now they're adding the NHL, and now they're hungry for Major League Baseball. We'll see how this goes, but I'm definitely thinking and feeling right now that what's happened with hockey is lending itself to what is possible with Major League Baseball. And again, I don't even know if this is an expansion situation. There are some struggling teams out there with attendance and business and their locations, and I'm not a big fan of relocation in any way, shape, or form, but this is how Utah might try and poach a team. You made it here to the end of this video. You know I really appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. That'll help me, this channel, and this video. And also, I would love it if you just take 1 second, go down and hit that subscribe button right now, because you know I would love to see you back here next time.